Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I would like to introduce someone much more important than me, a congressman from the great state of Ohio. My disciple will introduce him, and I'd like him to speak before me. Please give him a big round of applause.
Hare Krishna. It's my pleasure and honor to introduce Mr. Neeraj Antani. He's only 26-year-old and a very successful politician with values. He's the youngest Indian American Republican in the state and elected official. Please welcome him with a warm welcome.
Thank you, Swami, and thank you, Nisha, for having me here today. My name is Neeraj Antani. I am a state representative serving in the Ohio House of Representatives here in downtown Columbus at the State House, and it's an honor for me to be here with you today. I'm casually dressed because I just came from a picnic and I was speaking at a picnic, so my apologies. But I want to thank the Swami for bringing this show to Ohio and to Central Ohio specifically. My parents came from India to the United States in 1978, became citizens in 1984, and I was born in 1991. And I can tell you that growing up, we talk about the American dream and living out the American dream as an Indian American. And obviously, look, a lot of our population and our culture did that and made it and achieved the American dream. And so it's an honor for me to be right now the only Indian American state elected official in Ohio currently, and also the youngest Indian American elected official in the country, so that I can fight to further that American dream for all Ohioans, but also all Indian Americans. And I can tell you that one of the big questions I get as an elected official is I'm one of two non-Christians in the General Assembly. I'm Hindu, and I think it's a positive, but it can be a challenge. There was a Pew Research study done in 2014 that said only 22% of Americans feel like they know what Hinduism is, right? And I can tell you that in the short time that I've been here and trying to explain Hinduism and Indian culture to people, I think we should show them the show. And that you can hear me try and stumble and mumble and repeat things I learned in Sunday school from 20 years ago, or we can just put people in a theater and have them watch the show. So thank you. I think the Swami said this is the first few stops in Ohio, not in Ohio, but in the United States, and I hope that we can do this more, and we'll bring you to Dayton and all across Ohio. So thank you for having me, and I guess enjoy the show.
I just want to present the Bhagavad Gita, India's perhaps most famous scripture spoken by Lord Krishna 5,000 years ago. Lots of knowledge of life and even how to govern society. This is Bhagavad Gita, Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. With great pleasure and pride, we present this book. A second copy. This evening I've been asked to speak on the knowledge, or rather the wisdom, of the ancient spiritual culture of India. A very important aspect of India's culture. That knowledge is contained in a vast body of works called the Vedas. And translated, Veda means knowledge. It would probably take at least one lifetime to read all the Vedas. So the summary of all that knowledge is found in this ancient scripture called Bhagavad Gita. Gita in Sanskrit means song, and Bhagavad, Bhagavan is one of the many names of the Supreme Lord. This book was spoken by Lord Krishna 5,000 years ago in India, and it has been the guiding light of the people of that great nation who live there and live in America and other countries for over 50 centuries. But actually it's not foreign to the great country of America, because in the 1800s several reputed scholars and writers came across the Bhagavad Gita. And I would like this evening just to quote one of them, one of our fellow Americans, so that we can appreciate how this book is so important even in our modern times. This is the famous author, Ralph Walter Emerson. He wrote, "I owed a magnificent day to the Bhagavad Gita. It was the first of books. It was as if an empire spoke to us, nothing small or unworthy, but large, serene, consistent, the voice of an old intelligence, which in another age and climate had pondered and thus disposed of the same questions which exercise us." Very beautiful appreciation of Bhagavad Gita. He brings up the point of questions in life. Actually, if you think about it, our whole lives, we're asking questions and trying to find the answers. And I think at some point in everyone's existence, sometimes in youth, sometimes in middle age, quite often as we're growing older in the twilight of our years, we just step aside from our busy schedules, our school, our work, our family responsibilities, and we sit down and we think, who am I? Where have I come from? What happens at the moment of death? What is the nature of God? These are the questions we can ask in human form of life because the good Lord has endowed us with intelligence. That intelligence is meant to help us understand actually our deeper spiritual nature. Our forefathers have used their intelligence in amazing ways. Science, technology, medicine, space travel. According to the wisdom of this ancient text and the rishis and the yogis who follow it, that intelligence has actually been given to us so that we can go within and discover our deeper spiritual nature. It's not possible for all the other species of life. Our intelligence is advanced for this purpose, that we can go within and discover who we actually are. And this is the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna actually describes that we are not these material bodies, but we are the spark of life with a spiritual force. We say in Sanskrit, the Atman, we're a soul within the body. That's who we really are. Nowadays, for example, and I've experienced this often in my travels around the world, I'll ask someone, "Sir, who are you?" Well, I never really thought about that. Well, it's an important question, because unless you know who you are, you don't know how to live your life in such a way as to find the satisfaction, the happiness, the peace of mind that we all cherish. But who are you? Well, here I am. This is me. This is the most common answer I get, but this couldn't be further from the truth. Because Bhagavad Gita explains very clearly in the beginning that we are not these bodies. If you think about it, this body is not actually living. It's not actually conscious. It's not alive, this body, because, well, it's made of matter. And matter, by definition, is lifeless. You look around this hall, this great city, this state, this country, this world, anything material, as sophisticated as it may be, it's lifeless. It has no consciousness. I'm talking to the mic's not talking to me. Matter, by definition, is dead. So what is this body made of? The same material elements, just arranged in a different way. In fact, I was speaking with the doctor earlier, and he said, "Yes, sir, this is interesting because in medical school, we learned that the body is 72% water." I said, "I'm going to use that in my lecture tonight. That's a good point." If you think about it, that's a scientific, it's a medical fact. The body is 72% liquid. So my question to you, is that you? Are you a bag of water? Or are you something more dynamic, something more profound? You are. You are the spark of life within. You are the life force. You are the Atman. You are the spirit soul. And we must discover that spiritual soul. Not live in the illusion that I am the body and the whole purpose of life is to satisfy the senses of this body. That would be like the man who buys a bird in a cage and so fascinated by the cage, polishing, decorating, painting, that he doesn't see the bird inside. What's the use? What's more important, the cage or the bird? The bird. But if I ask you, with all due respect, to come up here and stand in front of this microphone and speak about your body, the shell, the clothing, the machine, so to speak, for want of another word, you can go on quite some time. How tall you are, the color of your hair, color of your eyes, how much you weigh, how much you like to weigh, so many things. But if I say, speak about the life force, something different than those 2,420 kilometers, I don't know miles, I spent a lot of time in Europe, of veins, and nerves, 328 bones, the muscles, the brain. Speak about the soul within. How long can you go on? So how advanced really is our modern civilization? We pride ourselves in our material progress with nothing wrong, that's good, but it should never be at the expense of self-realization. Self-realization means to understand my eternal nature, my spiritual nature, and the nature of the Supreme Soul, the Supreme Person, God, who's called by different names and different spiritual traditions in different countries, but he's the same person. According to the wisdom of the Gita and the sages, that's progress. By the time we die, we have to know that. Whatever else we've learned, whatever degrees we have, whatever we've accomplished, hey, lights out, that's it. With this knowledge, this can gain us immortality. So it's so interesting, Bhagavad Gita. 700 concise verses of wisdom. Krishna actually goes into great detail. He helps us understand. It's not left to some speculation, some wishy-washy little thing you dream or spec. No. He actually gives the dimension of the soul. He describes the soul as being 1/10,000th the tip of a hair in dimension. It's an analogy. It's very small. And the soul is situated in the region of the heart. I remember I asked my dad one time, if I'm a soul, where am I? He said, well, when you grow up, you'll understand that, son. I said, you're growing up, Dad, where is it? It's a mystery for most of us, but just because we don't know something doesn't mean someone else or some other culture or civilization doesn't know. And this is the beauty of the Gita. Any question you have about spiritual life can be answered to your full satisfaction. So Krishna says the soul is hovering here in the region of the heart. And from that soul, well, actually we know that because when we identify ourselves, what do we talk? We point to our chest. Right? I want to tell you. I don't point to my ear, and then your toe. I want to tell you, I point to my chest. Intuitively we know we're just lacking knowledge. And human life means to acquire knowledge. There was one poet in India, he said that the ornament of night is the moon. The ornament of a kingdom is a righteous and pious ruler. The ornament of a family is a beautiful and chaste wife. And the ornament of everything is knowledge.